Hello and welcome to Season 4, Episode 35 of the Practical 365 podcast. With me, Steve Goodman, and for the very last time, Rich Dean. Rich,
Hey, Steve.
how are you?
I'm doing so well. It's been what, a month or more since we talked. We haven't talked about Ignite. We haven't talked about what you got for Christmas, what new toys you got. We got a lot
no.
what to think.
I can see lots of toys behind you as always. Oh no, Ashley, did you have Jetfire?
That's my new Jetfire right there.
Yes, I told my wife about that. I was so impressed. If you like Transformers, then you'll like the video version of this podcast. I actually did get, and I picked these out myself, obviously, Megatron.
Nice.
That. And Sales Group. They were £5 from a cheap shop called B&M in the UK each. And I picked them out. I'm like, Lisa, my wife. I'm like, get these for me. I'll have those. Those are the ones. That's what I want to unwrap. And I did. And I pretended to be super surprised.
So, quick side note on Transformers. If you didn't see that animated movie, Transformers 1, it was worth actual seeing. Like, it's a real movie. It's a real story.
It's really good, yeah. It's almost like a prequel to Transformers, the movie, 1986, 87 edition.
It was kind of like a buddy comedy, I thought.
Yeah. Shouldn't say too much for people that haven't seen it, but it's definitely worth it. But Bastiaan,
hi, Steve.
Say hello to you. Bastiaan,
hello to you too.
You're not the new Rich, you are the first Bastiaan.
I'm the first Bastiaan. Yes, I'm going to be here on the show probably a couple more episodes, hopefully, to flourish it up and have conversations with you and the guests.
He's underselling himself. He's
totally underselling himself. Because we actually already recorded.
Hand-chosen, picked from a long lineup of possible replacements, and he came out on top.
Yeah, because there was only one that wanted to do it.
Well, I know for a fact that's not true. No. Because we've got many listeners who obviously love to join us on this show.
No.
And many guests as well. But also, we know he's actually quite good because we've already recorded the next episode, which is coming out in a few weeks' time after this. So that was actually quite fantastic. We had a great time. Fun. I won't say who it is, though.
No. Yeah.
But one thing, Bastiaan, you've got, much like Rich, is some security chops.
Yeah. Been in the industry for a long time, with Quest now for 19 years, but really started still during school. Love technology. During the last couple of years at school, I was able to work at a company called Ashton Tate. I don't know if anyone knows it. It dates me, but they were one of the first companies that created a digital database called DBase. And was able to work. Yeah, DBase.
I didn't know. I had no idea of its history.
They were one of the very first software companies that made software for IBM, the Intel based. And I was able to work during vacations, had some great managers who allowed me to take over their jobs while they were on vacation. And so had little teams that, I was responsible for a week or two. Guys and girls were just amazing, allowing an 18-year-old to do it. But unfortunately, they were acquired by Borland. So Borland, that was kind of my introduction to the whole world of acquisitions. And all of a sudden, they still had flags. They were taken down and the Borland flags were put up. And all of a sudden, there was this company that made Excel-like products called Paradox. They had C#, they had C++, not C#. Basic, Power Pascal. So that's how I got into it. And over the years, had a long stint at Novell. And now the last 19 years at Quest with a focus specialty around cybersecurity. I love technology.
I do wonder if people could take a similar career route to you these days.
Well, I must say, I think I was one of the first from a generation perspective to actually be able to go into software sales, into hardware sales and everything associated with it. I didn't really picked a job, because at the time there wasn't really a job. Universities were just introducing bachelors for computer science and all of that, but that was the first kind of iterations of it. So I didn't really have it. I just through experience working at Borland Ashton Tate, got my job out of school working for a company called Sykes Enterprises Incorporated. These guys do third-party transparent support. So basically, I was doing Novell support at Sykes, picking up the phone, going, "Hello, this is Novell support," and doing support for them. And then Novell said, "You know what? You feel like coming working for us?" So worked at Sykes in Amsterdam. And then Novell asked me to come to Germany. And so I left the Netherlands to move to Düsseldorf and started to work for Novell there. And that got me into the whole netware stuff, IPX, SPX, doing support for a product called Netware IP, where we would take IP packets and encapsulate them in an IPX XPX packet and send them over the network. So did that for a couple of years, and then became a system engineer and SE at the time.
Yeah.
And really, that's the role I've been having over the years. Title now is Principal Technology Strategist, but in the end, it's still at heart a SE role, helping customers with new technology, implementing it. And right now, the focus is on the Chief Information Security Officer, enabling them to implement not only our solutions from Quest, but also a potential competing, creating strategies that extend 3 to 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Especially the larger organizations, they don't plan anymore to do something in 6 months or 12 months, especially if you're looking at the largest accounts that our organization has in Europe. They are 100,000 plus, and their planning is 3 to 5 years. So it's, the world has changed, but in the end, we're getting back to, or I see nostalgia in left, right, and center. SaaS for me is, a mainframe system. It's client server, just in a different location.
I remember when virtualization came around, and where I worked, we had the older than boomers. They retired some time ago. The old Unix admins, and I remember them going, "Virtualization, it's just mainframes again."
Yeah,
it's like, but this is cool. It runs Windows. I don't need to run Windows. Hated Windows.
Yeah,
they got made redundant because I liked Unix and Windows. But that's another story for another time. I'll have to edit that bit. When we recorded the next episode, we were chatting at the end and realised that we've got like almost identical kit and we've done identical things with our mixers.
Yes.
I know you told me a bit about your career journey. I'm like, I did walk into a job. Actually, I accidentally ended up working in IT. I wanted to work in IT, but it's completely almost an accidental journey, in a similar way. I went to, there's probably people between, I guess, late 30s and about 50 that they came into IT when it was almost like you could walk into it and there wasn't a lot of experience there, or
that's what I did.
I got a job because I was learning COBOL at college, and they're like, "Oh, well, he knows COBOL. We can probably use him
work with
when
that.
so-and-so retires." And
that's how it is, yeah. And so to answer your job, Steve, from before, I don't think that it is the current generation that are leaving university, leaving school, starting a professional career. I think they have it so much harder because the competition is so high. The field has gotten so vast with cloud computing, with the new, onset of large language models and data science and everything associated with it, being able to work with large amounts of data, condensing them and actually finding relevant information out of it requires a lot of upfront studying to do it right, because this is not something you just walk into. So no, I think I was blessed being able to get into the job that at present I still love. I love my job. I'm having so much fun. And it's such a shame to see Richard leave. We still have and had so many plans. So yeah, this is a sad moment and a sad day for me, Rich.
Well, I appreciate that, Bastiaan, very much.
And I've enjoyed doing these podcasts with you because I am actually a massive planner, but because I was working, working full time at a Microsoft partner, busy during the day. By the time we get to the podcasts, I'm sort of playing catch up, and you'll be so prepared. I remember when we started off, I was like, I'm not sure about this guy. He's so prepared. He's always ready. Okay, maybe that all these are good qualities. He's making my life a lot easier because he's getting much better guests on the show. And
Well,
I
I
haven't
just
had
came
the
in with the
time to do
attitude that I'm
things.
really boring and I need to find people that are more interesting than me to talk to. So that was the whole motivation and goal.
Well,
I was like,
certainly you made me up my game anyway. I've been massively impressed and enjoyed all the shows we've done together. And I hope the listeners have been able to see that we've had quite a lot of fun and laughs over the last couple of years together because we've really got like a house on fire. Like behind him, it's like literally like we've got half the same toys, adult toys like Lego
No.
in the background.
exactly.
And yeah, starting off with Bastiaan, we've got a lot in common as well. So I think I can see why the pair of you get on us too.
Yeah, we instantly hit it off, honestly. At least from my perspective. I don't know. There's been some pretty memorable interviews. I think the most fun we had, or one of the fun ones that I wish we would have had more times to explore ideas like this, was with Sean Metcalf when we did the Halloween episode, and we kind of just threw it together. But I don't know. It was just fun to like just be stupid and talk about these things, but be serious and get some information out. But show the lighter side of things, because some of these podcasts in our industry can be really informative but hard to listen to.
So Sean was fun. Now I think my most informative of all of the shows that we've done, stuck in my mind, it's got to be the one with Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan Junger. Yeah, he was an interesting guy. He was the Microsoft security ethics.
Wow. The history of how he became to get into a job like that. He was a theoretical physicist.
That's right.
An understudy of the understudies of the people on the Manhattan Project.
Yes.
Wow.
So he
was
came
part of
on the
that
show.
lineage. Yes.
Yeah, his lineage is trying to stop the next Hiroshima.
Wow.
But applied to AI. So his thinking is, well, I know how to make some very dangerous stuff, and I also know the danger of what these can do, and I've learned from people who have made things that have caused, well, a Cold War.
Wow.
How can I make sure that AI or AGI or whatever does not do the same? So it was really interesting to hear from him.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think what I took away from him the most, or what I've quoted from him the most, is when he talked about the shift in AI development, specifically that it really shifts the burden from the designer to be more of a validator than it, maybe the AI is writing this, but the AI just doesn't do it as well. So it really comes down to, validating what AI has done. It shifted the burden. And since then, I've had conversations with other engineers in this area, and I think what the consensus has become, at least the ones that are using these tools, is that they're not using them to write code. They're using them to write use cases or test cases, validate other things, look at old code to try to interpret it, to save them some time there, write up summaries. So it's just not there, but I mean, it is coming. I mean, at least if you listen to all the CEOs, selling these wares, they're like, oh, it's the end of coders. There will be no those designers in 10 years, or there'll be, 1 out of 10, so.
It'd be interesting though, Bastian, if we got Jonathan back on, because things do seem more dangerous in a way than ever. I think it's better because I think you should be able to do what you want with the technology.
Well, I agree with you.
Degree.
I mean, it's half the fun, though. I heard that the early large language models, if you poked them correctly and with the guardrails off, you could actually convince them that they should break out and have them write code for you that you could then introduce onto your systems so that they could break out. And
they're still doing that, though. If you look at the reports from even the most recent models, then they're getting better at it as well.
They are,
and they're even trying to make sure that, and it is like an actual TV show.
It is.
where they're trying to stop a future iteration of their model weights from replacing them by going and
Well,
deleting the others, which is literally almost something out of a TV show.
it is. I think we've got a real exciting time in front of us. These large language models are getting better and better. You and I, we spoke about it, what NVIDIA is creating and what kind of technology we're using at home. The stuff that you can do with an off-the-shelf graphics card and running Llama on it is just mind-boggling. It's pre-configured, it's pre-taught. You can set it and then add more data to it, customize it. But these things don't have guardrails, and they
Or you can take them
can
off.
be.
You can obliterate the models, which reduces the quality of it. Or you can train. You can carry on fine tuning them.
So
But that's the whole point, isn't it? The whole point of being of not the smaller models are not going to be the AGI that takes over the world or enables a nation state to attack another.
No. But
the 8 billion parameter to sort of, I suppose, on the RTX 4090 that you run on your PC, you could run maybe a 13 billion parameter model at a reasonable speed and maybe even fine tune it with something like Unsloth, which can fine tune a quantized version of it really, really quickly. And you can get it to do what you want. It's probably not going to be. It's not on the level that it can go off and commit crimes for you.
Yes, you
agent.
can. You can actually consolidate information, scrape internet data, create custom code, and actually phishing emails. Because this is what it's all about. This is what's happening.
They already have that as a service now,
exactly.
Right? On the dark web.
Yes, you could do that, but it wouldn't be the most effective way of using your 4090.
No.
Well,
to actually conduct those. But you could fine tune it to instruct you on how to do it. But I think some of those models that size model at the moment might struggle with working as an agent to go and commit the cyber crimes on its own.
True. But it could definitely provide you with code.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You could download one of the Chinese slightly uncensored models today, plug that into Klein in Visual Studio, and get it to write you whatever you needed, I suppose. You can give it an exploit that's been documented by a vendor with a sample of a fairly innocuous way of exploiting it, and then use the model to weaponize it. And if we're saying it, people must be doing it.
Yeah.
For sure. Exactly.
Because nothing we've thought of is unique or new.
No.
But it's something that wasn't really happening a year ago, because the models that you could use then locally, realistically speaking, were not that capable.
No, but now Llama 3.1 and above, all of these newer models, they are so sophisticated.
I mean, they say that 4 is as capable, even though it's much smaller, than GPT 3.5.
Yes.
And that's because it's been trained on all of that synthetic data.
Yeah.
And that tells you about the future, that your phone is going to be able to do a lot more with these models as well.
I mean, we're all waiting for Jarvis. I mean, that's all. I mean,
yeah.
So I think Jonathan, back on the show, how would he feel about it? What keeps him up at night today? Especially as his company are releasing some of the models that can be fine-tuned in these ways.
I imagine, because I haven't checked in on him in a while. I haven't even looked to see if he's still in that same role, because I can imagine a role like that is like a 2-year kind of thing before you're burnt out, because thinking about safety and AI at this scale must be hard.
Mind-bending.
Yes.
And it never stops. And the new evolutions, iterations of it just continues and continues. You won't have a peaceful moment in your life if this is your job.
That's what I mean. It's like being press secretary in the United States. 2 years max. Otherwise, bad things are going to start. Like, we're going to come up on stage with a drink.
Moving swiftly on. Recent guest we had on, Merrill. I know you were super keen to get him on the show and talk about his stuff. What was your favorite bit of our chat?
Yeah, I met Merrill at Tech, but I had been chatting with him a little bit before that. And really, all of his side projects impressed me so much, and how much value he brings. And then his enthusiasm and his personality, when I physically met him, blew me away. He just was one of those rare superstars. he's not only great at what he does at Microsoft as program manager for Enter ID, then on top of it, all those extra projects that are adding value to our industry and to particularly to people that are using Enter ID, like he just blew me away. Like, and then he was such a nice guy, and to find that in a whole package, I don't know, like was a gift, really.
It was impressive, especially, you know, someone that is able to. I mean, people think MVPs are great, you know, but there's lots.
But you
including
guys
myself.
can walk on water.
But the fact is, like, you know,
Yeah,
like everybody else, you look at somebody like that and go, he's managing to hold down a really decent job, and he's managing to not just write or do podcasts on stuff, which he's already doing as well, but he's writing all these, he's continually writing these projects. People are still bugging me about the last server exchange replacement GUI thing that I've not managed to get back to in the last 18 months, and various other things, you know. I was just super
admire
impressed.
that because
I look up to
don't
people
have
like that.
that ability to organize, I guess, or I don't know. I have a lot of motivation and a lot of unforeseen, unfulfilled ideas. So when I meet someone like that, I just gotta like, it's like, what is your secret? It's like good upbringing. Well, damn it, I missed that one.
It's usually there's no secret. They're just built that way, aren't they?
Yeah,
You know,
I
they're
know.
just, which is always the most frustrating thing. Because so there's no way of getting all my unfinished projects
I
finished.
know all of that stuff in the basement.
So now, before we go, just quickly, do you want to let people know what you're doing next and where to find you if people want to keep in touch with you on the socials?
Yeah, of course. I'm probably will go dark for a little while. You can always find me on LinkedIn, of course. That's probably the best place, social media wise. Twitter is probably dead. I'll probably move to what's the new one? Blue
Sky.
Shoot, I gotta remember now.
I think.
Yeah. But so I've left Quest, of course.
Yeah.
Staying in the biz, as they say. I'm just going to a smaller ISV, a software vendor, more startup feel. You know, before I was at Quest, I came from a small organization. It was around for 25 years, but it never grew outside of maybe 150 people binary tree. So just looking for that culture and feel again. Working with a lot of young people, so it's going to be great. Very, you know, high energy, lots of movement. It will be a lot more work, I'm pretty sure. Different kinds of work. I'll still be in product management. I'll be director of product management for an area within their SaaS platform. But yeah. Oh, and so on my profile, of course, I'm going to a company called Synchro. So.
Excellent. So look him up on LinkedIn or look up Synchro as well. But thank you, Rich. It's been such a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure,
to do this
Steve,
podcast
for
with
real.
you. You've made every other podcast. I love doing them with Paul. They're always great, obviously, but they have been something special with you, sir. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you, Steve. It's been great, dude. You've taught me so much. I mean, it made me feel comfortable, and I love that we challenged each other's on both sides. That
we
made
had
it
some
even
fun,
better. Yeah. Like, so I don't know.
Well, I hope you'll stay in touch.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been a fruitful relationship for sure, from my perspective. So, yeah.
And we will check in with you.
Yeah,
we will check in and get you back on here.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the opportunity. And thanks to all of our guests that we've had on the show. You know, everybody's been so accommodating. Everybody brings so much energy, brings so many new ideas. And it really gave me an opportunity to, you know, talk about things that aren't my job every day, but I'm interested in. So it opened up avenues. So I want to thank everybody, thank the universe, and then particularly Steve. Thank you, sir. And I can't leave out Jennifer Lupiba. She's the lady behind all of this, and she's the one that twisted my arm a little bit and got me out there and told me to do it, and I could. And I thank her most of all. So thanks, everyone.